चक्षुर्मिलितं येन नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि श्री हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. We are continuing the subject matter of spontaneous devotion in ISKCON. When we naturally think, even though we are joined in ISKCON, yet if we stay away from the daily activities of ISKCON temple, then we have a routine, a mechanical routine set up to visit, as well as they participate in one or two programs. But the whole day affairs are not being ventured by us because we have other occupation. So other occupation may become stumbling block in developing spontaneous devotional service. In the beginning, most of us becomes very much elated to do spontaneous devotional service, but again, as routine, we may feel complacencies as if it is monotonous. So, what is that stumbling block that does not inspire much? There are a few situations, familiarity becomes or breeds contempt. So, when our mind is not focused with a resolve, and we do not become serious after taking the vows of our lifelong, abstinence from the principles which are putting us always into the ignorant mode. So there are so many situations which are not cleared as anarthas. They are hanging around. Then it despises us with the formulation that Srila Prabhupada gave in ISKCON to rise above not only bodily conception of life, but also practice a routine spiritual life, starting from the beginning of the day at 3 o'clock devotees get up and they either start chanting the rounds as well as then try to follow the temple programs. But everybody does not stay nearby, so naturally they will be encouraged to come up gradually towards a resolve that will be totally dependent upon the association of the devotees, which is almost available only in the temple rather than in different houses of our friendship and acquaintances. That Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission was to introduce the world of spontaneous devotion in the wake of Brajvasis. There can be little doubt that this is also the mission of Krishna consciousness movement of Srila Prabhupada. And there should be little doubt that Srila Prabhupada wanted his followers to become Raganuga Bhaktas, or the divine grace taught. That is the teachings. Without Vaidhi Bhakti, you cannot reach to the platform of Raga Bhakti. Although this is our aim, Raganuga, Raga Bhakti is executed following in the footsteps of the devotees in Vrindavan. That is called Raga Bhakti. So this Krishna consciousness movement is gradually developing up to the stage of Raga Bhakti or Para Bhakti. Then life is successful. This is the quotation of Srila Prabhupada, a lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 26th chapter, 35th and 36th verses, in January 12, 1975, Mumbai. Prabhupada is very clear. I was not there when Prabhupada talked, but it doesn't mean. It is our obligation to be in touch with the movement which is hardly having the duration of only 11 years, and then we cannot refer to the 11 years even in our later life. Srila Prabhupada taught his followers the principles of regulated devotional service, so also how to put it into practice. As a result, his divine grace followers have no doubt on how to practice devotional service either in their homes or in ISKCON temples. By contrast, while Srila Prabhupada also taught what spontaneous devotional service was, explaining the basic of its practice and warning of its pitfalls, he spoke little about how Raganuga practitioners should integrate within ISKCON. And yet Srila Prabhupada did not leave us clueless. His elaborations on spontaneous devotion contain in themselves the right conduct of the qualified Raganuga sadhaka. This concluding chapter will therefore address the question, how did Srila Prabhupada envisage Raganuga Bhakti should be practiced in ISKCON? From his example and teachings, it is clear that his divine grace expected his followers to conduct themselves as regulated devotees or neophyte devotees at the maximum. Srila Prabhupada translates sadhaka rupena as neophyte devotee in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 156 to 157 state. It is not a controversial statement. The beginner, the sadhak, is in neophyte state because everybody comes from a varied background, whether pious or impious, whether from the tradition or out of tradition. The movement is touching the soul, not of any particular upbringing and locality. So, From his example and teachings, it is clear that his divine grace expected his followers to conduct themselves as regulated devotee or neophyte devotees. This has also been consistent expectation of our acharyas dating back to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Prabhupada envisaged that the longing to follow the Brajvasis should remain a personal internal matter and should neither be made public nor discussed in general devotee forum. This is borne out of by how Srila Prabhupada dealt with the Gopi Bhava Club. GBC is Gopi Bhava Club. It was they then kind of what you call a black spot that devotees were rushing to listen to the Gaudiya Math about Gopi Bhav. And it was so Gopi Bhav Club. Gopi Bhav Club, the reference is Gopi Bhav Club was formed in Los Angeles in 1976 when devotees interested in reading and talking about Krishna and gopis regularly met together. Srila Prabhupada quickly disbanded the group and instructed the devotees to stick to the basic Krishna consciousness. You can say, when you are chanting Hare Krishna, you will be tempted to jump into the forcing, but without clearance, how can you even land safely? There will be accidents. The tradition of Srimad Bhagavatam and of Gaudiya Vaishnavism is that internal cultivation and accomplishment are kept confidential. The verse begins with Naitat Parasma, Naitat Parasma Akheyam. And the following instructions of Narottam Das Thakur are evidences of customs. Apana bhajan katha na kahibe jatha jatha taha te haiba sabadhan. Sabadhan. Na kariha keha rosha, na laiha mora dosha, pranamaha bhaktera charane. In regards to one's own personal bhajan, devotees should be careful not to speak openly here and there to anyone and to everyone. The reason is that some people will become angry while others will find fault. Therefore, it is better to just offer obeisances to the feet of all Vaishnavas. In other words, it is better to keep one's heart treasure distant from them. These two quotations are there. One is from Srimad Bhagavatam, 8 Canto 7 chapter 20th. And second is from Bhakti Chandrika, Narottam Das Thakur sings, and 9th chapter, 19th verse. Whatever private cultivation devotees are engaged in publicly, they should discuss only the topic of regulated devotion and the technique of preaching. In this, there is spiritual chastity, like women who remain confidential about their intimacy with their husband. Vaishnavas are guarded about their burgeoning relationship with Krishna. Another example of this kind of chastity is found in the conduct of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even when he was unable to control his ecstasies in the presence of others, he would refute the authenticity of those ecstasies and denounce himself as a pretender, saying, "My dear friends, I have not the slightest tinge of love of Godhead within my heart. When you see me crying in separation, I'm just falsely exhibiting a demonstration of my great fortune. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this in 7th Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 2nd chapter, 45th verse. As far as whatever private cultivation devotees are engaged in, publicly they should discuss only the topics of regulated devotion and techniques of preaching. This quotation is in the following a conversation with Srila Prabhupada, in which His Divine Grace urges devotees to keep their spiritual experience as personal affair. Satsvarupa. But we have been discussing, and Prathaputra Maharaj is saying that some devotees are very sensitive about thinking that they have been having these experiences. And if we tell them, ignore this, it is not important, that will not be good for them. Because they are definitely finding or feeling visits from persons from other plane. And if you simply tell them no, Prabhupada said, no, that's all right. You say that you are unfortunate that you are having, but do your business. That's all. Prathaputra. They want to feel satisfaction from Krishna consciousness point of view. Prabhupada, that's all right. Sometimes it may be fact. There is no wonder. But we have to proceed with the figure. That is a conversation of January 28, 1977 in Bhubaneswar. Prabhupada does not approve directly. Even if you have something genuine, at least you should not disclose. It's your personal privacy and property that cannot be revealed to anybody and everybody. Only say, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear friends, I have not the slightest tinge of love of Godhead within my heart. When you see me crying in separation, I am just falsely exhibiting a demonstration of my great fortune. What a language. Same time, if you have, you denounce it. So it should not mislead the neophyte to imitate you and point a finger at you, find fault with you, like that. Srila Prabhupada was also guarded about this internal attainment, never revealing his spiritual identity to his disciples, but always setting an ideal example of regulated devotee and preacher. Confidentiality is not only the right conduct of Raganuga Bhaktas, but the way to protect his blossoming attachment of Krishna or his devotees. There is no restriction as to when
something missing, Gurmaj. Maybe one page is missing, Gurmaj.
Oh my God. It is. Okay. So, confidentiality is not only the right conduct of Raganuga Bhaktas, but the way to protect his blossoming attachment from those who would misunderstand it. Moreover, confidentiality avoids dissension in the Vaishnava community, dissension that often results in offenses or disturbances to the mission. And to re-emphasize the point made twice in chapter 10 of this book, Kaviraj Goswami says, keeping their faith firmly fixed within their minds, the devotees should be careful not to fall into the pit of false arguments or the whirlpools of unfortunate situation. If one falls into such position, he is finished. Wow. This is the reference in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 25th chapter, 279th verse. I remember there was a club formed which lasted several years. That's called Prabhupada Disciples. And everyone was discussing whatever on their mind and tried to, get commented on it. This was like a public forum. And one is trying to put his realization, and then the comment goes back and forth. Ultimately, one incident that happened, and it was criticized by some devotee in the response, and it flared up. So much dissension that people, those who were sincere, they took off their membership in Prabhupada's disciples group. Instead of keeping it confidential, because we do not know you are matured or immature. But it is a confidential matter that is to be treasured in the self. You can write about it on the basis of what you call personal realization, and keep limited. What Tulsidas wrote by admittance that he has written this Ramcharitmanas for his Swanta Sukhaya. Swanta Sukhaya means what? For his internal ecstasies. Now, how come it becomes so much popular? That people know, and just by quoting, they think they are also on the same platform. But it is actually a blind imitation. Prabhupada said, I'm not writing all these purports for Swanta Sukhaya. Means Prabhupada does not put his realization of Krishna Leelas. How come we dare to put Srila Prabhupada in a particular limited atmosphere of ecstasy in our mind? How can we limit? Some people say, oh, yeah, Prabhupada expressed his desire to be back to God, go back to Godhead and enjoy the transcendental pastimes of lunch being looted amongst the gopas. Oh, so then speculation starts. It does not leave a kind of ammunition that without provoking it will burst into fire. No. Prabhupada expresses, but it doesn't speak much about it. So why do we take the liberty to add something which Prabhupada has not explained? So we have to refrain from, such speculative process. It is not appreciated in ISKCON. it doesn't mean that ISKCON is barring you to develop your own internal sentiments towards Raganuga Bhakti. No. So, keeping the faith firmly fixed within their minds, devotees should be careful not to fall into the pit of false argument or the whirlpools of unfortunate situations. If one falls into such position, he is finished. We may well ask how a devotee will advance on the path of spontaneous devotion under such restrictive conditions. As with every other aspect of Krishna consciousness, devotees will progress in Raganuga Bhakti by the guidance of the spiritual master, the direction of scriptures, and the counsel of the Lord within. Three things: Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, Vakya. So here, for Raganuga Bhakti, the guidance of spiritual master, direction of scriptures, and then the counsel of Lord within. Two are common. One, you have to depend upon the awakening of the call of the Lord within your own heart. Devotees who sincerely aspire after Vraja Bhakti will be rewarded with a fulfillment of their aspirations. Krishna himself promises, Ananyas chintayano mam ye janaha pariyupasate tesham nityabhi yuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. This is in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, 9th chapter, 22nd verse. So, this is a very good explanation that pertaining to our training and gradually rising, but not jumping like monkey. The difficulty that rises when practicing or unqualified devotees take to Raganuga Bhakti are circumvented when the stage of ecstasy is gateway to spontaneous devotion. People choose to stay at Radhakund, associate with Babajis of Radhakund for developing premature Raganuga Bhakti. And this was Srila Prabhupada's preference for his followers and his movement. Readers, please take note. Evidence, Haribol. Evidence for the preference can be seen throughout Srila Prabhupada's writing and statements. In a translation of the Seva Sadhaka Rupena verse, Srila Prabhupada translates Siddha Rupena as his self-realized position. That reference is also given it is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 158th verse. All right. So, In this context, the self-realization means actually entering into one's spiritual identity. Elsewhere, Srila Prabhupada says that Raganuga Bhakti is for Paramhamsas, which means for transcendentalists. That is spoken by Srila Prabhupada. Can get the reference, the lecture on Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 26th chapter, 35th and 36th verses, January 12, 1975, Mumbai. So in this context, self-realization meant actually entering one's spiritual identity. Elsewhere, Srila Prabhupada says Raganuga Bhakti is for Paramhamsas, which means for the transcendentalists. This notion is again reinforced by the quote, Raga Bhakti, that is called Parabhakti. That Parabhakti is required. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma no Shochati no Kankshati Samat Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. This is the reference of Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, 54th verse. Aside from the possibility that conditioned soul will cause disturbance in ISKCON, there is another reason Srila Prabhupada preferred that Raganuga Bhakti be cultivated by liberated devotees. Those who are transcendently situated are beyond illusion and the tendency to make mistakes. Therefore, they cannot be lured into sahajiya aberrations and that would contaminate the society. We will not become ideal example for others to follow. That is the contamination we are imposing or dumping into the society. And if we are supposed to be Shrestha, then common men will follow and we become the cause of disturbance in the society. That's how the malpractices in Vaishnava Sampradaya has been a historical, precedent that happened almost in every Sampradaya. But because spontaneous devotion is attained by the mercy of Krishna or his devotees, there is no restriction as to when that mercy will descend. Although greed is mature at bhava, it may appear at lower stages of devotion, and that is why it is also a part of devotional service in the practice. Greed that is appearing maturely in the bhava stage, that is the best, because you do not depend upon anything. While in immature state, there are so much other diversions of dependencies. It means that greed will be so diluted that even though its presence is there, but it won't be much effective because of not one-pointed devotion. Srila Prabhupada acknowledges and accommodates the possibility in other translation of the Seva Sadhaka Rupena verse. This method is applicable both in the stage of sadhana, the spiritual practice executed while in the stage of bondage, and in the stage of sadhya, God realization, when one is a siddha purusha or a spiritually perfect soul. Seva sadhaka rupena. In that stage of sadhya, God realization, when one is Siddha Purusha or spiritually perfect soul. Eagerness to follow the Brijvasis may awaken in practicing devotees, and it is mostly to these Vaishnavas that this book is addressed. It means for us, this book is addressing. However, those who are gifted early with the treasure of devotion should recognize the responsibility that comes along with it and conduct themselves appropriately. Don't blame me, Shivaram Maharaj says. I'm writing as a caution. With whom can the devotees share their realization and from whom they can get the guidance? Keeping in mind the conduct detailed earlier, Raganuga Bhaktas should carefully follow the guidance of example of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srimad Bhagavatarthanam Aswado Rasikah Saha Sajatiya Snigde Sadhu Sangas Swatovare. One should taste the meaning of Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of pure devotees, and one should associate with the devotees who are more advanced than oneself and who are endowed with similar type of affection for the Lord. This is also said in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, 22nd chapter, 131st verse. Lord Chaitanya directs that one seek the guidance of devotees who are well versed in spontaneous devotion. The initiating spiritual master is the first devotee in whom one should take shelter. However, if he does not able to counsel his disciple in this regard, then he will direct his word to a qualified Shiksha Guru. Whatever the case, Krishna is sitting in the heart of the devotee and understanding his spiritual needs, the Lord makes suitable arrangements. If your spiritual master is not able to guide you, then you can take care of an advanced devotee for that purpose. That is the Shiksha Guru. Otherwise, what is the use of Shiksha Guru? We see that in public, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged only in Sankirtan of Krishna's holy names. When amongst his devotees he spoke on general topics relating to Krishna, and only with two confidential associates he would reveal his inner aspiration, the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. It is these meetings of the Lord during the late hours of the night that give us a hint as to how devotees may disclose their spontaneous attachment. In the privacy of his personal quarters, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu conversed exclusively with Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar Goswami. These two were his Sajatiya associates and the only ones who knew directly of the Lord's inner aspiration. By conducting himself according to the variety of different circumstances, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spread the mission of Sankirtan amongst the common men, encouraged his followers in Krishna consciousness, and cultivated his inner aspirations. All three are to be executed. We should also do the same. It is what Srila Prabhupada expects his followers. In summary, to the question, when is one qualified to practice Raganuga Bhakti in ISKCON? The short answer is that because Raga can arise at any time, when it is truly does, one may take up to Raganuga Bhakti. Greed may arise in the stage of practice, but it will certainly arise at the stage of ecstasy. In either case, although Srila Prabhupada's preference was for the later, his expectations was that devotees keep their attainment and aspirations internal and confidential. It should be internal and confidential. It should be made clear that Raganuga Bhakti will not awaken in every devotee. This has already been explained earlier in the book. Those devotees who aspire after the service of any form of the Lord awaken an attachment that corresponds to that incarnation. But Raganuga Bhakti is only for the son of Mother Yashoda. However, the thirst of Lord Chaitanya's mission and Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON is to give devotees opportunity to return to Golok Vrindavan and become a follower of the Brijvasis. Sometimes the devotees fear that strictly keeping to the conduct of regulated devotees will stifle the awakening of spontaneity. Such a fear is unfounded and indicative of an immature understanding of the science of devotion. A graphic episode that dispels such concern is the appearance of Radha Raman to Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Gopal Bhatta Goswami to worship Shalagram Sila, a practice that traditionally associated with the South Indian regulated devotion. Gopal Bhatta followed in order, and when his hankering for serving Krishna matured, one of the Shilas manifest in the form of Radharaman. And the disputable implication of this event is that devotees who practice regulated devotional service under the guidance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his followers will see their devotion transform into spontaneous service. As Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, when one follows Vidhi Marg, prompted by greed, that is called Raganuga Bhakti. So you can't give up the Vidhi Marg. Vidhi Marg turns into spontaneous devotional service. Ragavartamak Chandrika, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, the 12th verse. To experience that transformation, devotees need to be patient as well as submissive to the process left to us by our acharyas and by Srila Prabhupada. I shall conclude this book by quoting Narottam Das Thakur's song on Raganuga Bhakti. And this song is very important. It is given in Prem Bhakti Chandrika, Ragavartma Chandrika, 12th verse. Narottam Das Thakur's song on Raganuga Bhakti. It encapsulates the proper mood and practice of an aspirant. Without doubt, if we follow his guidance, we shall be rewarded with jewel of true raga. Ragera bhajan patha kahi ebe abhimata loka bheda sara e bani sakhira anugahana braja siddha deha pana yahi bhave juda be parani. I shall now describe the path of spontaneous love for Krishna, which is glorified by the exalted devotees and the Vedas. By traversing this path of spontaneous love, one becomes a follower of the gopi and attain the perfect spiritual body of a liberated soul. Shri Radhikara Sakhi Jata Tahaba Kabhi Kata Mukhya Sakhi Kariye Ganana Lalita Vishakha Tatha Suchitra Shampakalata Rangadevi Sudevi Kathana Tunga Vidya Indurekha Yehi Ashta Sakhi Lekha Ebe Kahi Narma Sakhi Gana Ihon Seba Sahachari Priya Prestha Namadhari prema seva kare anukshana. Let me describe the most important of Srimati Radharani's gopi friends, Lalita, Vishakha, Suchitra, Champaklata, Rangadevi, Sudevi, Tungavidya, and Indulekha are the eight most important. The others are divided into groups such as close friends, or dearmost friends. All these gopis constantly render loving service to Sri Radha. Sri Rupa Manjari are Sri Rati Manjari Sar Labanga Manjari Manjulali Manjunali Sri Rasa Manjari Sange Kausturika Adirange Preme Seba Kare Kutuhali. Sri Rupa Manjari, Sri Rati Manjari, Lavanga Manjari, Manjurali, and Sri Radha Rasa Manjari eagerly and lovingly serve Srimati Radharani, supplying her musk and various other articles. Yai Savara Anugahana Prema Seva Nivachana Ingite Buji Basava Kaje Rupa Guna Dagamagi Sada haba anuragi basati kariba sakhimaje. I am the follower of these gopis. One day I shall serve them with great love, understanding their orders even when couched in casual hints or gestures. I shall immerse in the wonder at their transcendental virtues and beauties. I shall dearly love them, and I shall certainly remain in their company always. Vrindavane dui jana chari dikke sakhi gana samayera sebaras sukhe sakhira ingita be chamara dulabata be tambula jogaba chand mukhe. One day in Vrindavan, I will come to know the happiness of serving the divine couple who are surrounded by their gopi friends. Following a gopi's hints, I shall take up the chamar whisk to fan Radha and Krishna, and for their pleasure, I will also place betel nut in their moon-like mouths. Jugala charan se bhi nirantara ei bhavi Anurage takibe sadayam sadhane bhabiva yaha siddha dehe pave tatha raga patheraye say upaya. Someday I will constantly serve the lotus feet of divine couple with great love. But at present moment I will follow the rules of sadhana bhakti until I attain the perfected spiritual body and until I am able to love the divine couple spontaneously. Sadhane je dhana chai siddha dehe tatha pai pakava pakva matra se vichara pakile se prema bhakti apakve sadhana khyati bhakti lakshana anusara. This verse is giving the correct information of self checking out. That treasure of pure love of God for which I hanker while I follow the regulative practices of sadhana bhakti, I will attain when I will have spiritual body of a liberated soul. Actually, sadhana bhakti and prema bhakti are the same devotional service. In the former, the love for Krishna is still unripe, and in the later, the same love has reached the mature, ripened stage. That is the description of divine devotional service. Narottama dasa kahe yei jana mora hoy, brajapure anurage basa, sakhi gana ganayate, amare gani betate, tabahon puri abhilasha. Narottam Das says, I hope that I shall attain the stage of spontaneous love for the divine couple in the town of Braja. I hope that I will be counted amongst the gopi friends of Radha Krishna. O divine couple, in this way I'll be able to serve you and satisfy your desire, all your desires. Tatha hi sakhinam sangini rupam atmanam vasanam mahim agya seva param tat kripalankara bhushitam. Prema Bhakti is described in the following statements. One should meditate on oneself as the maid servant of the gopis and in this way attain their mercy. Krishnam smaranam janam chasya preshtham nija samhitam tattat katharataschaso kuryad vasam brajay sada. The devotee should always think of Krishna within himself, and one should choose the very dear devotee who is the servitor of Krishna in Vrindavan. One should constantly engage in the topics about that servitor and his loving relationship to Krishna, and one should live in Vrindavan. However, if one is physically unable to go to Vrindavan, he should mentally live there. That's end the chapter. Isn't it very wonderful instruction by Narottam Das Thakur how to, in the stage of sadhak, to become sadhana siddha and then get the permission to enter into Raganuga Bhakti. So this ends the first part of that. There is some afterword which has been written by Shivram Maharaj. We should understand. This book elaborates on the aphorism of Vedanta Sutra that states Upapanas tal lakshanartho labder lokavat. It is best because the means of attaining the goal, the Lord, is the same nature as what we find in the world. Means he has descended in human-like form to give all the familiarity of our relationship and affection accordingly. The natural attraction for Krishna is just like the natural attraction of conditioned souls have for the family members. The former leads to most elevated kind of liberation. The later, however, to the material bondage. The essence of Krishna consciousness is to transfer our natural attachment to Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, and the most specifically the 10th canto, is dedicated to glorify the goal of this attachment. When devotees read about the love of Brajvasis and become inspired to love Krishna as they do, giving up the attachment of this world, that is called the awakening of spontaneous devotional service. You prefer come to the stage of bodily attachment to be given up. Be ready to give up. People are so much attached to bodies and make themselves weak in spiritual sadhana. Instead of making the strong sadhana, they become weak because their bodily conceptions deepen. Even though it is exemplary in the human like form of Lord Krishna, people still misunderstand. Avajananti mama mudha manushim tanum asritam param bhavam ajananta mama bhutameshwaram. So this is the process of acknowledging the param bhavam as it is given in the Shastras, and then try to come to the stage of param bhavam at this, what you call, at an equal level Aparam Bhavam, to know Krishna as he is. And that is the internal bhajan. For external bhajan, it is just to become, attached. But the extent of attachment can only be at the cost of material detachment. So we have to develop that. Then naturally, the royal road to go back home, back to Godhead will be opened. Shivaram Maharaj was born in Budapest, Hungary in 1949, and his family immigrated to Canada and during the failed 1956 Hungarian Revolution. He became disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, in 1973 and entered the renounced order of life, sannyas, in 1979. Shivram Swami is well known for his deep knowledge of Vaishnava literature and has written many books about Gaudiya Vaishnavism, including Krishna in Vrindavan series. He is the member of ISKCON Governing Body Commission and is responsible for projects in Hungary, Turkey, and Romania. Although he travels and speaks internationally, he spends as much time as possible at New Brajadham, Krishna Valley. It's a replica of Vrindavan and the self-sufficient farming project in Hungary's countryside. But now Maharaj has retired as GBC and he is simply concentrating the internal bhajan and writing books according to his realization of the detailed, research from the books written by Srila Prabhupada and our predecessor Acharya. To confirm this process is so perfect and is available, and we are also trying to take him as our Shiksha Guru as far as approaching into our internal bhajan is concerned. We must say that we have not reached to the perfection to perform internal bhajan. But if we strongly, follow the four regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds and read such literature, this will itself become an, uddipak or inspirer to internal bhajan. What do you think, Prabhus?
Thank you very much. There was one quote from yesterday that I highlighted where Maharaj says that we aspire to serve Krishna the same way as the gopis and Vraja, then we enter Raganuga Bhakti. So I was meditating on that we have to want to serve Krishna like the gopis do.
Yes, but we cannot jump in imitation of gopis immediately. That
No.
will be sadhya.
But when that desire appears, that's the beginning of that greed, I think he said.
Yes, but it cannot be matured within 1 or 2 days.
Yes.
It requires internal meditation. Otherwise, there are chances that we become untimely and sahajiya, immature. The fruits are not ripened. So, Raganuga Bhakti is the ripened fruit. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam. Shukhamukha dravyam amrutam sanyutam. Srimad Bhagavatam rasamalayam. Pibata Srimad Bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Bhavuk means one who is imbued with the bhava stage, Raganuga can be only developed if bhava and purity of the bhava is invoked. So the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam is that. And when in that maturity, if we study the 10th canto, it will be the best. Then we get real impetus to follow in the footsteps of gopis. Immaturely means there are so many unearthers still hanging around and you want to follow gopi immediately. And that is a disqualification.
Yeah, I know I've got so many anarthas. And the bodily conception. I was meditating, you were talking about how we're all still in the bodily conception. And then I was sitting chanting in the samadhi, and I'm instantly aware when a fly or a mosquito lands on me, but my mind gets distracted from Krishna so quickly. So I know I'm still in the bodily conception of life, Guru Maharaj.
See the power of the fly.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
So anyway, when we think of the fly that you can distract me, and we become totally helpless, not to hit out of a Vaishnava etiquette. Don't kill
Yes.
a mosquito because it is
Yeah. You have
distracting.
to keep
Yeah.
just keep chasing
You,
it away
you,
and then come back and chase it away.
prevent yourself, put yourself into a mosquito net.
Yeah.
So they will not come.
Sometimes I just think I'm glad when other people come, because then the mosquitoes got somewhere else to go.
Share the contributions.
Yes, good. Anyone else have questions or comments?
Yeah. Remember, Tamal Krishna Maharaj killed a mosquito, and Prabhupada said, "You murdered a mosquito?" Oh my God. Then it penetrated in the heart of Tamal Krishna Maharaj and said, what can I do? Let mosquito take my life. Prabhupada said, even a mosquito can sacrifice his life for a devotee's cause. It's great. Like that. So the idea is that when is our heart going to be soaked with true love of Krishna? We should develop by following in the footsteps of our senior devotees, disciples who are virtually dedicating their life for love of Godhead. May not be obtained, but at least he is empowered to write books to guide us.
Yes,
What do you say?
Yes, Gurmaj. And Asita Raja Prabhu's commenting that we must continue the Sangha, otherwise we'll lose impetus and force.
Yes. Anything else, Prabhu's?
So tomorrow we have class, but the day after tomorrow you're traveling, right?
No, tomorrow is Sunday, and the time for the class is colliding with the evening program.
Oh, okay. So then we won't have a class until you're in Las Vegas.
We will not have. And even on Monday, I have a flight
You're
during
traveling.
the time in the evening. So that is also not possible to, unless you want me to give, but it will be too early for you.
Yeah, you have to, I think your flight's at 5:30, so you have to be at the airport quite early.
Yes.
If you give class, I'll join. I can skip Mangalati for a class. It's okay. Okay, there's one comment from Ananda.
Let's take a break.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. We have a 2 days break. Okay. Anandamoy Prabhu writes, if a weak sadhaka like me follows only Srila Prabhupada's and Gurudev's instructions, not to focus on Gopi Bhav and intimate relationships with Krishna, is that acceptable?
Yes, be bold enough to go on regulated devotional service. You cannot become more absorbed in the thought of Radha Krishna. And no, we have to have a controlled development. Not all of a sudden, just have patience. Patience and perseverance, both are needed to cross the road of spontaneous devotional service.
Vedavyasapriya Prabhu is there.
Hi Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. This chapter, Maharaj very nicely puts it for us to have the that exactly what you said just now, that we need to be careful about how we proceed. Put our faith in Srila Prabhupada, follow the instructions of the Guru, and take guidance appropriately. So in a way, this chapter kind of captures that mood Maharaj has been saying right throughout in
Yes.
this book.
He's recompiling what Prabhupada has already spoken. And he's guiding himself and guiding others too. That's how GBC entrusted him to do this work and allowed him the retirement.
And you're following this with what book, Maharaj? Next one.
The next one is said to be
Sudha Bhakti Chintamani.
Sudha Bhakti Chintamani. That's what I was also thinking.
No. There is another book which is a little thicker than that. It's a further thoughts on awakening of spontaneous devotional service. You hold on, I have that book and I will tell you.
Okay, good. Haribol. Haribol. நான் இங்க இருக்கேன். Wait.
This book is called Further Awakening of the Spontaneous Devotional Service.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll have to try and find it. That wasn't on Kindle. I'll have to look for it.
And this is more thicker. The second book is more thicker. So I think we'll be saturated with that, qualification needed. So it will foster our, efforts in the line that we have to understand and implement gradually according to the greed that is developing. The beauty in ISKCON is that even though we are stern in the application of the 4 regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds without fail, it will draw our attention more often as a sadhak devotee, not yet perfected. This sadhana will take us to the Brahmabhuta stage. And then spontaneous devotional service will be starting. So unless and until we get perfectly detached from the bodily conception of life, implementation of spontaneous devotional service will not occur. Of course, we are getting dim light because we are sadhaka and performing, but we are removing our ignorance with the beacon or the guideline that is given in these elaborate explanations. So it will be sure that we continue our regulated devotional service without any replacement, And what Srila Prabhupada has given is perfectly and completely uh, self-sufficient to develop that raga attachment enough to enter into the spontaneous devotional service. Okay?
Okay,
Hello?
Gurmaj. Oh,
Do you feel
Hare
it
Krishna,
boring?
Gurmaj. Yeah, but no, it's not boring, Gurmaj. This book is not available as an ebook yet. It was only published last year, so we won't be able to
Okay.
read along with you unless we can find the real book.
Uh-huh.
Sri Radha Vallabh asked a question about the difference between Raga Nuga Bhakti and Ragatmika Bhakti, but Asita Raja Prabhu has been answering on the chat as well.
Yeah. Raga Anuga means to follow in the footsteps of a Brijavasi.
Yeah.
Ragatmika means it is the practice within oneself.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hello.
Hare Krishna, Gurmaj. Anyone else have comments? Sita Raja Prabhu's last comment is Ragatmika is a perfected Siddha, and the Raganuga Bhakti is a sadhaka. Oh, Janeshwar Prabhu has a hand up, Gurmaj.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Gurmaj, please accept my humble obeisance, sir.
Hello, Srila Prabhupada.
Gurmaj, in today's class, you mentioned about the guidance of a spiritual master, and then we can continue with the Shiksha Guru. Now, I was just meditating on that, and we are so fortunate to have you, and then you're so nicely guiding us. If at all, if I have to leave the body, I think I want to leave the body before you under this guidance. But now the technical and the philosophical question comes that if one has to go in that path, then how do one recognize the qualification of a Shiksha Guru? Because now a spiritual master is a Uttamadhikari.
Now you will be in advancing in sadhaka stage itself makes you serious and gradually withdrawn. So the part of Ragatmika Bhakti will be also simultaneously developing. But, and waning of sadhak bhakti will be there. But full blown situation will be in full dependence on the process of internal bhajan. That is the state of existence of Paramahamsa. When we have so many external duties and services right before us, we can understand the spontaneity in performing the devotional service with our will, And if we do not have will, we find a lot of excuses not to perform devotional service, then we are the losers.
Correct. Unfortunate people. Yes, Gurmaj. Thank you, Gurmaj. Got it. So,
Haribol.
So you have a class tonight as well, Guru Maharaj?
No, there might be. They want me to speak. I don't know, but not in the temple.
Okay. Because it's Saturday there, right?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Yeah. All right, Guru Maharaj. Thank you from Anandamaya Prabhu.
Okay, Haribol.
All right. And anyone else? I don't think so, Guru Maharaj. No one else is popping up.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you very much.
Thank you very
Krishna
much. So,
bless all of you.
thank you. So for one unmuted, Sanivas Prabhu.
What's up?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, yes, Guru Maharaj, this class is so much deeper, Guru Maharaj, and you're so merciful to give these
It's
classes.
not deeper, Prabhu.
Yes, Guru.
We have to come back on where we are right now. But understand we have to progress. You will not be satisfied otherwise.
Yes, Guru.
We have already embarked on the journey towards even spontaneous devotional service, but we are somewhere, not stuck. We should not feel stuck. Yes, impediments will come, but don't feel stuck at all. The spontaneity is within the holy name. Rest assured, so never give up to service of the holy name. Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta. If it is Nitya Mukta, holy name, then how it is going to tolerate any obstacle? It will make you liberated. Okay?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah.
Never give up chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Chanting will relieve everything, Guru Maharaj, as we chant more
Yes,
deeper, more nicer.
yes. What it means, we have to stick to our vows and then meditate on the holy name, sound vibrations of the holy name, go deeper. Then you can think of Krishna, Nama, Rupa, then Guna. But without transcendental qualities, you will not be able to enter into the intricacies of Leelas. So, gunas are essential that we transcend our mode of goodness even. What to speak of passion and ignorance during chanting, then we'll be able to enter into the transcendental, intricate, deeper understanding of the divinity of the holy name. These qualities are essential to understand Krishna. So the Leela will be manifest late at the last. So otherwise, this is said to be in a gross way, but Maharaj is explaining in very detailed way with so many references of Srila Prabhupada himself while taking into that. It means Srila Prabhupada was at that stage of giving directions and saving us from the pitfalls of imitation of other sahajiyas and try to protect all the followers of ISKCON from the pseudo, apasampradayas and so many, charismatic figures in Vrindavan that people are just jumping into without, knowing about it. Even I did not know that Hit Harivansh was a disciple of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. But he adopted a deviant practice. So Gopal Bhatta Goswami rejected him. Otherwise he could have been a very stalwart, but no. He deviated to Sahajiya, and now all of a sudden from nowhere somebody is introducing him as in the follower of this the priest of Radha Vallabh, Premananda Baba. So many pitfalls are there. So, of course, we have to guide the herd of sheep, which has a tendency of just following the previous one before him. It doesn't want to look for himself right or wrong way. No, this is called following a leader which seems to be very, very methodical, but they do not know, they are not aware of the surroundings.
Yeah, they were all in Vrindavan last night for Nirjala Ekadasi.
Aha.
We had a full temple this morning.
Wow.
All right, thank you very much. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Asid is asking questions. Vijayalalasa is saying, thank you for your encouragement. Asitaji Prabhu is saying, when should we, our group, go to Navavrajdam in Hungary? He wants Maharaj's
Yeah, let's have yatra there.
Good. Okay, Asitaji Prabhu, it's up to you to organize. Hang on, there's a hand up. Whose hand up?
Yes.
Oh no, there's a clapped hand. It's not a hand up.
Yeah, do it,
Yeah, Sidraja
do it
Prabhu
next
yes.
year.
He says yes. We have to find out when Maharaj is going to be in Hungary and try and meet him there.
Don't worry, he is there.
Yeah.
His moving is very restricted. Doesn't want to go. He doesn't come to Mayapur even.
Mahajwala Gopi is asking, is Kripalu a Mayavadi or a Sahajiya?
Sahajiya. He may quote even Rupa Goswami, but his bhava has been criticized by following women. And Brajvasis even do not accept him. He hardly was staying in Vrindavan, even though he had a lot of empire created in Vrindavan. Let's be serious in our pursuit.
Yes,
All
correct.
right? And Krishna will bless. Prabhupada will bless us.
We don't want any of these deviants.
Yes.
All right, so for 2 days we have no class and we'll meet you again when you're in Las Vegas.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna very much.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.